To kick off this Career Expo session. There is a saying in English that your career is like a garden. With the right guidance and right attitude, you can grow it into something extraordinary. And this evening we have a very multi-talented and dynamic personality amongst us. On behalf of Prabodham, New Zealand, I would like to welcome Mr. Chris William. Namaste, Chris. Can I please also ask Pujya Prathmesh Bhai and Pujya Divya Bhai to present Chris with a flower bouquet, please? So before we dive into this session, I would like to give a brief introduction about Chris. So Chris is a dynamic business professional with over a decade of experience in management, consulting, and technology field. He is the managing director of Launchpad NGO and all the insights. Stage is all yours, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are too kind with your introduction. You had me blushing there. So for me, helping people with career development, it's not just a job I have. It's really, truly a passion of mine. And I really know the struggle that a lot of people have. I have friends, I have family members, neighbors, a lot of people that I talk to and that I try and help as well. So many stories. I think this past year for everyone has been quite challenging. So I know exactly what you guys are going through. every time at school, at Otago Polytechnic, I have students coming to me, even struggling to get part-time jobs. I know the market is tough, and this is sometimes a topic people try to avoid because it's an ugly topic, it's not a nice topic to talk about, but we have to, right? And the thing is, what really makes my heart bleed sometimes is when I see that it's really hardworking, dedicated people with a lot of skills and a lot to offer. But it's just their approach. Sometimes there might be something missing, or it can be something very simple in how they are trying to get into the market. New Zealand, as we know, has its own culture, its own way of doing things. I had to get used to how things are done here as well. So I know it can be a cultural shift, a different way of thinking, different way of working with people. But that's why we're here, right? To learn how we do this. So let's get started. All right. So welcome to the workshop. Thank you all so much for coming. I see we even have our Mr. Champion speed bowler over there who injured his leg, and he still made it here because he thought, you know what, maybe there's something I can learn. So I appreciate that. All right, so first thing, right, what is the point of this? What are we actually doing here today? Speaking to someone earlier about networking, sometimes people feel that it's a waste of time. And for me, networking, going to a workshop, all of these things, it can be a waste of time, right? If you don't have a purpose, why are we here? So for me, that's the most important thing, is to first state, why are we here? Okay? So what I want to help you guys with today is how to navigate the job market. Okay, it's a very challenging thing to do. So let's look at that. So I was already given a very fancy, very nice introduction. So I don't really need to go over that anymore. I kind of just shortened it because, I do way too many things. I should probably stop, but I love what I do. But yeah, so why I'm here is basically working with employability. I do that at a campus, but I saw the need in the community, in the public, where people don't always have access to these types of services. So that is why I started Launchpad. And it's an idea I had quite a while back, but it's now getting off the ground. And that's what I want to do, is I want to take what I do at the campus with the students, and I want to have it more out in the public and help people. So it's a charitable organization focused on expanding access to quality employment services and support networks. So that's what it's all about. Okay, so I want to hear from you guys. This is going to be a very interactive session. So I want you to scream stuff at me, okay? So what would you say is the most important part of the job application process? Who has ideas? Job description. I heard CV, yes? Cover letter. Your interest, okay? Experience. All right. Any others? Skills? Yeah? Okay. So in a way, you're all right. Okay? So the answers I hear most typically are CVs, right? And then I hear cover letters. Okay. For me, those are obviously very important, but they are not the starting point, right? This is, and I think some of the others covered bits of the next one, but this for me is the most important one. It's direction. Where are we going, right? The biggest problem I see, and I talk a little bit more about this, but the biggest problem I see is, and this is a human a natural human response, right? If I have financial pressures on me and I feel that I just need to find a job, any job, I don't care what, I can do anything, right? So I go and I apply all the places I can, and then I hear nothing back. Why does this happen? And then I feel even more panicked, and then the only thing I can do is apply to even more places, right? Because what else can I do? But today I want to show you that there is a different way, all right? But yes, direction. First, understanding where we want to go, where do we want to place our energy, our focus, is very, very important. So, without knowing where you're going, it is impossible to get there, right? So that's something to keep in mind. You want to find out where do I want to go? What mountaintop do I want to climb? You can climb all of them, but not at once. So choose which one are we going for. Okay? So this is kind of my map of the job application journey. So do you see number 4? Preparing and submitting applications? That's where CVs and cover letters go. So what we naturally think about as number 1 is actually halfway through the cycle. Okay, so I'll very briefly go. So I had a whole workshop in December that was just about this, okay, about how this process works. But the first part is about direction. And how do we find direction? And that's what tonight's workshop is about, is how we find that direction. Because that's the foundation of your whole career. Now, that's about knowing who you are and what you want. Now, knowing who we are, I think that's a lifelong journey. You don't just, I know exactly who I am, and this will never change, right? We change, our interests change, we mature as people. We have all these life experiences that impact who and what we are. But for where you are right now, you have to try and figure out, what are the things I love doing? What are my interests? And how does this fit in to the bigger world, the bigger market, right? So that's step number 1, and that's the most scariest step of them all. And I think that's why naturally we feel we just want to skip it over. We don't even want to touch it. That's a scary topic, right? And we ask that question to 5-year-olds and 8-year-olds. We ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? I want to be a fireman. I want to be an astronaut. And some people say, I want to be... the funny thing is, when I was young, I had the most realistic answer ever. I think as I grew older, it became more and more absurd. And so when I was 6 years old, I said, I want to be a mechanical engineer, and I will work for BMW in Germany. I was like, that was my answer. And then, now I want to be an astronaut. All right. But so you need to know who and what you are, what you want. Then you go and explore the job opportunities that are available to you, right? That's step number 2. So you go out and you say, okay, I like doing these things. Are there jobs? Are there ways of me to make money to do the things I like, the things I'm good at, right? Are there ways of making money from that? And most of the time, the answer is yes. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is networking and connection. Now, I put that before CVs and cover letters, and there's a very important reason why. to a room of people they don't know, they don't really care about meeting or talking to them. Maybe they're a bit shy, so they just end up eating something, drinking something, and leaving, right? So if that's your purpose for networking, then you've definitely wasted time. So you need to have a purpose. Again, all of this is about purpose. Where do you get that purpose? From the direction of your career. Okay. Preparing and submitting application. Number 4. Now we get to CV and cover letter. Okay. Now, again, this is not a workshop specifically on CVs and cover letters. I will have one of those as well. All of these 6 topics can be their own 2-hour long workshop. All of these things are important. Okay. But for your CV, again, it needs a purpose. The biggest problem I see with CVs is people make a very broad, generic CV, and I understand why. You do it because you feel, I need to apply to as many places as possible to get something. Okay, but I'll show you there's a different way to do it. And I'll show you what the problem is with using that approach. But again, it all comes back to number 1, having that direction. Even your CV needs that. And then obviously your preparation, your interview, your follow-up, and then even accepting the job and advancing in your career. Those are also steps. All right? But today, we're focusing on number 1, finding that direction. So some of you might say now, okay, Chris, I hear you, I really do, but why can't I just jump straight to the CV? Why do I need all of these other things, right? Why am I wasting my time? Okay, so this is how the endless cycle of job applications that we have these days. The big problem is Seek, LinkedIn, all these online application places, that's where they want you to apply, right? And then the psychological effect of that is we apply somewhere, we get rejected, then we feel we need to apply to even more places, and then we get even more rejections, and the cycle just continues. And the reason for this as well is because the companies, right? Imagine you are the hiring manager. You're responsible for hiring a person. Now you have over 800 applications. What do? Right? You have maybe 2 or 3 weeks to find that person. Immediately, you want to get rid of as many applicants as possible by any means necessary. Okay? So what happens is the quality threshold for CVs has gone up. Okay? So maybe this is the threshold of what is accepted by the hiring manager. But yours needs to be higher than that to be the one who wins at the end. But the problem is if you spend so much of your energy on so many different CVs, you can't reach that quality threshold. It's impossible. If you can tell me with a straight face that you can send out 100 CVs in the morning and they're all perfect quality, I don't believe you. I recently actually did a talk on CV, AI CV generators, right? So AI can be amazing, right? But as in the talk I gave there, AI is not magic, all right? And the problem with many of these AI CV builders is they are not made by people who have a background in employability, in helping people, in these skills. Many of these, unfortunately, are very quickly thrown together, and you can read a lot of articles, actually, by professionals saying why these things don't work. And the main reason is because they don't have context. They don't know you. All they have to work on is whatever CV you uploaded, right? So if your CV is already not a high-quality CV, because obviously you're trying to improve it, right? But now the AI is relying on your quality, the quality of your CV to make a CV. So it doesn't really work out. So I would say, so I will have another workshop that's on CVs, right? So that in it is its own thing. But what I will say is why it's better to focus narrowly is because you can have, if you spend the same time on 5 CVs or 10 CVs that you do on 50 or 100, you will actually have a much higher chance. What I've seen when I speak to a lot of people and a lot of students, there's almost this sense that every CV is like a lottery ticket. Okay, and I'm trying to print as many lottery tickets as possible, because one of them will work out, one of them will win, right? But if you look here, right, if you do it that way, you are always below the quality threshold. And that means your CV is always wiped away. Because, again, especially, this is for me heartbreaking, it's especially in over 1,000 applicants in that. And remember, there's a person on the other side who needs to make a very, very hard decision. Okay? So what I always say is your best superpower in job applications is empathy, trying to understand, right? There is a person on the other side. They need to make a decision. It's hard for them as well. Just like with interviews. Who enjoys interviews? You enjoy them? Really? Man, okay, we need to talk afterwards. But most of us, we don't enjoy interviews, right? They suck. But the person doing the interview also doesn't enjoy it. Okay? So think about that, right? I think many times we think about applying for a job as an us versus them situation. But again, it's an awkward thing for everyone. So just as like with your CV or your general approach, here's my challenge to you. If you write a CV and then you put yourself in the employer's shoes and you read your CV, ask yourself honestly and truthfully, would I hire this person? Would I trust this person with my business, with my customers? Right? Really ask yourself. Okay. So who knows this word in the middle? Ikigai. Who's heard of that? Okay. That is a Japanese word, ikigai. It's basically the philosophy about finding and doing what you love in a way that still makes you money and helps you get fed and have a roof over your head. All right. So there's 4 aspects to ikigai. It's love, skills, needs, and money. So what you want to try and do is always find something that you love doing, something you're passionate about, something you have skills in, right? Who of us is good at something that we don't like doing? I want to challenge you. Who can tell me about a skill you have, something you're actually really good at, but you don't like doing it? People always ask you to do it, but you don't like it. Okay. But that's actually good. If your skills and your passions are aligned, that's very good. I remember I knew someone who was very good at accounting, but they really hated it. Okay. So love and skills, this is in you. Needs and money, that is in the world. Many times there are things that the world needs, but they're not always willing to pay for it. Okay, many people who try startup ideas learn that the hard way. Sometimes they have a good idea, something they want to bring into the world, and all their friends tell them, oh, I would love if this existed. And then they build that, they make that, and then no one wants to pay for it. We all want to use it, but for free. We don't want to pay. So you need to find something that is both needed and gives you money. Those are very important. So, does everyone have a phone here? Okay. I want you guys to work with me, right? We're going to do a bit of interactive thing here, okay? So, do you all have a notes application? Okay. So we are going to work on your ikigai today. All right. So what I want you guys to do is just take a minute and think about things that you enjoy doing. This can be hobbies, even some jobs that you've had in the past that you really, really liked. and anything that's you find interesting, right? So I have a few examples of my own. I used to do Toastmasters back when I had a bit more time, which is about public speaking. I really, again, as a hobby, did academic research. Like, it's funny, when I, even at Otago Polytechnic, I wasn't academic staff, but I still wrote papers because I enjoy doing that. Organizing events, that's also something I enjoy doing. And again, everything doesn't have to be related. You like studying? Yeah, research? Yeah. Yeah, and take part in community events. Awesome. No, I like that. So, what we're doing here, we're being very non-judgmental. Anything that comes into your mind, I should have put here, uh, uh, dirt bike racing. Also something I enjoy. So don't just think about jobs. Just think about things you enjoy, right? Okay. Next one. What skills do you have, right? Think about skills, like things you're really, really good at, certificates, maybe if you have professional certificates, and even character traits, like you feel you're a very trustworthy person, you feel you're very good with, being on time to places, anything. So for me, again, I just copied from what I did in the previous one. So mine is public speaking, design, programming, and academic writing. So those are a few things. But again, even character traits are very important. So anyone else who'd like to share from their side? Just to give us some ideas. I can see you really want to share. Do you want to? You don't? Okay. All right. I hope for hobbies you put down cricket. Okay. Okay. So this one I'll help you guys with, right? But it's also something for you to do on your own, because it's very, very important. I kind of combine the needs and the skills. So you want to know what is currently needed in the market. So I just took some of the top ones that I felt might be relevant to everyone here. Okay? Not all of them might be relevant, but it kind of just gives you a bit of an idea. So in New Zealand, and actually in the world at the moment, of Jeff Bezos, but he said something that that really inspired me on how to think about the world. It's not just to think about what will change, but to think about what won't ever change. Right? So the whole philosophy of Amazon is built on the principle that customers will always want cheap things. Do you think that will ever change? No, I don't think so. So just with that, with businesses, what are things that businesses need that will never ever change, right? Businesses will always need accountants. They will always need salespeople. They will always need marketing. They will always need IT, right? You're already thinking that way. Excellent. What else? What else will companies always need, right? If you think about life in that way and not just follow trends, right? You might see, oh, influencers, that's the big thing now. Ooh, TikTok, all of these things. Being a live streamer on Twitch, there's so many kids growing up now. That's what they want to be when they grow up because that's what they see everywhere. The reason why, I joked earlier, but the reason why everyone wanted to be an astronaut was in the 1960s. That was like the biggest thing. It was so influential for so long, right? So what I would say is don't follow the trends, follow the data. Don't just follow what people, don't just go with emotion, but go with what is really out there. Okay. So again, knowing who you are, what are your skills, what are your likes, what do you love doing, and how that fits into the market. Again, there's almost any job you can think of can go with any passion. You'll be surprised what kind of jobs there are. So this might seem like a luxury, especially, again, as I was saying before, if you're really under financial pressure, this might seem like a luxury. But in the long term, you want a career that matches with your strengths and your interests. The reason why is, if you just do something and your only motivation is money, at some point, you'll really struggle to get out of bed. I can guarantee you. And you might even just quit one day, right? And it becomes miserable to you. But if you really love what you're doing, right, you want to stay there for a long time, you grow in that career. The problem is career growth only happens with momentum. If you stop having momentum in one direction and you start new in a different direction, you're starting from the beginning all over again. So you want to pick something, and again, with how life is these days, research shows that most people will have at least 3 career changes, drastic career changes in their life. I've already had more than that. But what I want to tell you is choose something you really love and just go with it. Will it change? Will you change as a person? Obviously. But you need somewhere to start. Okay, so this is kind of what I call the cone of competence. So I've had many students, they come to me and they bring up, oh, I've been applying to, be a chef, be, a kitchen hand, and then to work at a retail store and, all different kinds of jobs at the same time. And then I tell them, look, we are all amazing, capable human beings, right? We can do anything. But you have to ask yourself, should I do anything? Okay? If I go now to Air New Zealand and I say, hey, I want to be a pilot, they'll laugh me out of the room, right? But if I then take the next 4 years and I spend a lot of money and time to get the necessary qualifications, I can go back and say, hey, now I'm ready to be a pilot. And they're more likely to accept me. But you have to ask yourself, for that direction I want to go into, is it worth the trouble? Right? That's why you should not just think about your skills, what you love, and what the world needs, but also what have you already done? Because you've already built a foundation for yourself. Never forget that. Okay? I spend so much time with people who come to New Zealand and then tell me they have to ignore all of their previous hard work. And I'm here to tell you, no, never ever do that. Okay? When you talk about your career experience, always mention everything. Even if it's from back home, right? every experience counts. Every experience matters. Don't hide your hard work. Okay? But that's very important. Cone of competence. We can all do many different things, but what are you good at right now? Okay, I think in school, we many times learn, I think school sometimes teaches us the wrong way. What schools do is they say, you are good at this thing and you are bad at these things. Let's focus on making these things better. Okay, and I can understand in school that's important, but when you're out in the real world, take the things that you are great at and make it even better. Focus on the things you can do really, really well. That's what you should focus on. So this is another part, right? So we know where we want to end up. We know what mountaintop we want to climb. But now we need to set goals to get there. Okay? You need short-term goals, things to track and for right now. But then you also need goals for the long term. Okay? How I like to break this down is, what are my goals for this year? And just kind of have big goals. And then kind of, you don't have to do it this drastic. I would say you can maybe say for the year, for the next 3 months, and for the week. What am I doing this week to move things forward for my career, for myself? Right? These are things, because if you don't keep track of this, it won't move forward. There's a study done on what is the one action you can take that will help you lose the most weight. And the surprising thing, it was just to track your weight. If you start tracking it, you'll start saying, oh, probably shouldn't do that. And then when you go and you exercise or you eat right the one day, oh, wow, that made a big difference. So just keeping track of your weight, keeping track of your goals. If you just write down, I want to be CEO, and that's all you write down, but how are you going to get there? How are you going to become CEO? Right? It takes steps. You have to take different jobs. Like even if you want to be a project manager, you won't start off as a project manager. Maybe you will work as an assistant to the project manager. Learn from them. Learn about what documents are we working with. How do we do Gantt charts and time management? How do we allocate resources, risk management, all of these things? So if you've been in a management classroom, you would have heard about this, right? SMART goals. Now, this is actually a really useful thing to do. I just gave some examples here. So let's say you want to become an accountant. Okay, so I'm setting a goal. I'm enrolling in an accounting training program. Okay, I've made it specific, right? Now, how do I measure this? Okay, so I want to achieve a specific rating. This is what I want to get in my program. I want to get at least 85%. Okay, achievable. So am I going to choose a master's level program if I don't have bachelor's qualification? No, right? So choose something that fits your level and work from there. Relevant. So is this goal relevant to me and my life? Right? That's for you to decide. Okay? Time bound. When am I going to complete this? Am I going to complete this in the next 6 months, in the next 12 months, in the next year and a half? How much time is this going to take from me? Okay? When you're setting these goals, right, these are the things that you should focus on. Professional licenses and certifications, and also education. Okay? Improving specific skills. These can be industry-specific skills, technical skills, soft skills, and then also what I like to call experiential learning through action. So I'll quickly go through them. So professional certification, these are examples. If I want to be an accountant, these are some of the things that I might do. Chartered accountant, certified management accountant, all of these things, good certifications. So industry-specific skills, financial reporting, tax knowledge, compliance, auditing. Okay? These are the types of lists that you should be making for yourself. Technical skills, right? If I want to be an accountant in New Zealand, probably I need to know how to use Xero. I need to know data analysis. Maybe I need to know an ERP system, right? And soft skills, analytical thinking. Again, time management, communication skills. So experiential learning through action. This for me is the most important one. Learning by doing and learning from other people. So some people go and they do internships. Other way of doing it is volunteering. If you can find a mentor, that's also great. Or even sometimes an entry-level position that goes into the right direction, where you can obviously get a mentor as well. So you might be asking, how does volunteering fit in there? So I'll give an example. I had someone I met at Toastmasters, and she is now the head of marketing for all Toastmasters New Zealand. What people don't know, that is an unpaid position. Actually, she pays to be there, right? She pays a Toastmasters fee to be there. But that role got her a really, really good job because they could see the capability that she had. Someone else I know was volunteering at Green Office Toitu, which is a thing we had on campus about sustainability. And then after volunteering there, he got a job being the sustainability manager for Fujifilm New Zealand. Right? So having an internship, having a volunteer position can really help propel your career. But again, it has to be with purpose. You don't just go to keep busy. You go very strategically into something that can help demonstrate your capability so you can take it to the next level. Okay, so that was just kind of an idea of how to choose your direction. Now, I will have a next workshop that will be on CV letter and cover letter writing. And there are also other ways that Launchpad can help you guys, right? So I'm going to have a QR code. You can sign up. I'll be sending some more information your way. So you can gain access to a career development platform that can help you, some one-on-one coaching, more workshops and resources, and CV and cover letter support. So we also lead you through. So the bit of interaction we had now, right? That's a good starting point. But maybe you might feel that I need some more support. Right, this was a bit quick. I need some more. We'll take you through a psychometric test that will kind of help you. You'll get like a 15-page PDF that will help you better understand yourself, your skills, and how to go into your future. It can help you make some good decisions. So ideal industries, career roles, skills, challenges, ideal workplaces, values and areas for growth. So these are all things that you can get there. And we'll also help you set your goals for now, the next 6 months, the next year, and all these things. So, you can just sign up there because we're still finalizing when and where and how the next workshop will take place. But yeah, so if you're interested, you can just send us your details and we'll be in touch. And I'll obviously have my good friend Chintan as well. Afterwards, I'll keep this for later as well for anyone who might not get this now. And this will now be followed also by a Q&A session. So I hope you guys have some good questions. So I'm going to move. Okay, I see we have some more people. So I will go back to this, right? I'm just going to move on quickly. Also, if you want to get in touch with me on LinkedIn, I accept all connections, right? The only connections I don't accept, just like when you get a knock on the door and it's that vacuum cleaner salesman, right? That's the only one I don't accept. But everyone else, you're welcome. And the nice thing about connecting with me, if you feel you don't have a lot of connections in New Zealand, you can steal all of my connections, right? And lastly, if anyone wants to give some feedback, how did you like the workshop? What can I do better? This is something that's very important to me. It helps me give you guys better value. So that's my focus on this. So I'll cycle back through these QR codes, but I just want to indicate that we can now go to Q&A, but I'll keep this one open and then I'll go back to the other one. But I want to go through because I want you guys to ask me questions about things I didn't cover. Okay, you might have come with some burning questions or burning expectations, and you might now be feeling, Chris didn't talk about what I wanted him to talk about. I want to hear about that. Who came here with a very specific question in mind? No one. Remember, so yes, you have a question. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I heard you correctly. No, it's not off topic at all. So manifestation can be a very powerful thing, right? We have to, that's step number one. We have to manifest where we want to go, right? We have to, because if we don't have that image in our mind, there's also even a lot of psychology research that was done on that, is people who write down their goals, who even have like a collage of different things that they want to achieve, and you look at that every day, that inspires you, right? But there are also a lot of parables from many different religions that have examples of people asking for help, and then help comes in many different forms, and then they say, oh, no, I'm good, I'm still waiting, right? So when you see an opportunity, really take it. And sometimes it might feel like life isn't giving you an opportunity. Sometimes it feels like you have to make your own. I'll quickly give you a short story, and I hope this helps you. So I was once in a desperate situation that I needed to find work quickly. I was told I needed, immigration was being funny, and they said, oh, you need to find work outside of Auckland if you want to get residency. So I panicked at that time. So even with everything I knew and everything I told you guys just now, I applied for everything and everything, right? Just as what I told you not to do now. I did that. It's a natural human instinct. After 6 months, I got nothing. Very predictable story I think we can all relate to. But then I thought to myself, okay, who do I know around me that's maybe a bit more influential person, maybe someone who owns a company, but that has a problem? Who is struggling? Who is having a problem that I can help solve? So I knew this one guy. He had a very ambitious goal, a very ambitious project for his company. And I could see he didn't have the manpower for it, right? He didn't tell anyone or anything, but because I knew him and I could see from the outside looking in, this person might need some help. So one weekend, I went and I drafted a whole project management plan, right? I tried to look for all information I could about the project he was working on, And I drafted a whole, I think it was like at least a 30-page document over that weekend. And then I had a meeting with him the week after, and I told him, look, I think you guys have an amazing project that you're busy with. I would be keen to join you guys. And I want to give you a gift. This is how I would run the project if I could help you manage it. I hope you learn something from it. I hope you find some value from it. There you go. I just gave it to him as a gift. And then I said, but if you ever feel like you would need some help, you have my number, you can give me a call. Right? What do you think happened in the next few days? I got the job. There was no job advertised. But I looked at and again, you can maybe say there was manifestation, because I was like, I want to have that job that doesn't exist. I want to have that project management role. And he actually gave me a higher role than that. He made me chief of staff of the whole company. So manifestation is really, really important. It is what gives you the energy and the drive you need. But the problem is just staying there, right? Yes, manifestation is important, but there's still work that has to be done. And sometimes we have to put in more work than we feel is fair or reasonable. And that's the truth in life. Like for me, I never really tell people this, but like last week we had a conference that I was managing. I was the MC and I had 2 presentations. The night before, I literally just had 1 hour of sleep, if it was that much, right? So sometimes we put in a lot more work, and people don't always see this. You don't always feel it's appreciated. But trust me, putting in that effort that people don't see, they see the results of that. They do. So, but it takes time. It takes time and effort and patience and grit. And it's sometimes really hard. Life is hard and many times very unfair, right? You see a lot of people who get promoted, then you ask yourself, how? Why? Right? But if you keep focusing on that, you'll always be sad. You'll always be unhappy. If you only focus on the things you can control in your own life, it's so much better. I can control the things I do, the things I learn, the actions I take, the people I meet, the relationships I build. These are things I can control. I can't control if there's nepotism or favoritism in the office, right? I can't control if the market is going bad, but I can control myself. And that's all I should be focusing on. I hope that answers your question in some way. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So networking is the most powerful thing. Even if you have the world's worst CV, okay, I would still say if you have to choose between CV and networking, I would choose networking. Okay? But the reason why everyone chooses CV is actually because it's easier, it's more convenient. I can just stay at home and just write my CV, right? But networking takes time, it takes effort. Now, again, just going back to my initial and the theme of this talk, before I can go out there and network, I need to know who I should be networking with, right? So if I just go randomly and network, that can also work, right? New Zealand is a small country. You can, even if you you want to go into construction and now you attend an IT meetup. Who knows? You might meet, I have a friend actually who works at Oracle, and again, IT company, but their main software that they offer is a construction management software, right? So you'd be surprised who you meet where. So I would say this. I'll go over some strategic things now, but just to kind of clear your mind, networking is just building relationships. That's all it is. Funny thing, the first connection I had at Deloitte, I met on the bus. I wasn't even networking, right? I wasn't deliberately networking. Building connection in general, right? I just have one rule for how to build a network, how to build a connection. It's you need something that connects you, something you share in common. Okay, so how I met the guy on the bus from Deloitte was I received a phone call from back home in South Africa, and I answered it in my language, in Afrikaans. And the guy on the bus noticed that, and then he came and sat next to me, and he started speaking to me, and he was also from South Africa. So we shared that connection, right? And only by the end of the bus ride did I ask him, oh, so by the way, where do you work? And he said, oh, here at Deloitte. And I said, we need to be contact, right? And he's still one of my contacts. So anyone you want to connect with, whether in person or online, you need to have a shared commonality, because there needs to be a reason for them to connect with you, right? And also another thing to keep in mind, especially people who everyone wants to connect with, I want you to challenge yourself to be a giver and not a taker, okay? So what that means is we all want to connect with someone. We all have reasons why we want to connect with them. But have we ever asked ourselves if we are giving them a reason to connect with us, right? What can we give to that person, right? Maybe if it's just having a friendly chat, maybe it's just giving an opinion on something. Maybe it's just because you share something in common, right? But you want to, from your side, try and think of what is the value that I can provide the world and the people around me. A very simple one. When I go to a networking event, right, I have two things I always do. I always speak to the event managers and the speakers, and I always ask a question when it comes to the Q&A session. And most of the times, I get the first question. Why? Because people generally naturally shy. So I am doing a few things. I am helping to break the ice so people feel more comfortable sharing questions. I'm also helping, and I try and ask a question that applies to all the speakers so they can, I give them all a chance to speak. And then it also helps the organizer, because the worst thing for an event organizer is if no one asks a question, right? So I'm helping all of those people. I am providing value from my side to them. And the surprising thing that happens is also a lot of people notice me and say, hey, that's an interesting question. I want to go talk to that guy. So when you're at a networking event, it's not always about chasing people, but how do you get people to want to come talk to you, right? Because remember, like all these, like the speakers and everyone, they know they will get flooded by lots and lots of people who want to talk to them. They all want something from them. But I'll give an example. I was at an event 2 weeks back. It was an IT recruiter was there. I knew he was going to be the most popular guy in the room. Why? Because everyone wants a job, right? They're all going to rush him and they all want a job. I just went to him. In 1 minute, I just said, hi, I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. I work at Otago Polytechnic. I have a bunch of students who are in IT. I think there can be some good collaboration between us. I'll be in touch. Have a good evening. And I just went. right? So I told him, hey, we have something in common. I can provide value to you, and I'll be in touch. I'm giving you the gift of not bothering you while I know you're going to be very busy right now. Okay? So when it comes to networking, again, have empathy. Think about the other person. What am I giving to this person? Right? Or am I just going there to take something from them? But more specific. Okay. Again, it comes to direction. If I know I want to be a project manager, I should probably join PMI, right? Project Management Institute, where I can meet other project managers. We actually had a project manager at the school a few weeks back, and he said he came to New Zealand, he joined PMI, and in that room with them, he got his first job. Not on Seek, not on LinkedIn, in that room networking with people, with other project managers. That's where he got his job. Right? So that's what I want to encourage you to do. If you go back and we look at this, let me just go here. So this, I don't want that for you guys. Okay? And that happens when you knock on the door as a stranger. Okay? Networking with people, getting to know them, being very strategic about it, makes you a friend, makes you someone they know. Okay? And this can be, again, done through internships, through volunteering, through trying to find an entry-level job there, right? But even if you don't have that, try researching what are some events that if you want to work at a specific company, what are some events that this company usually sponsor, right? Where do they go to? That's the main thing you want to know, is where can I find these people? Okay, but to know where to find these people, first you need to know which people am I trying to find. That's again why direction is the most important thing. Because I can give you more specific advice if I know the direction you want to go. Okay? So always keep that in mind. What am I trying to achieve here? That tells you who the people you need to meet. Then you can start thinking for yourself, okay, where should I meet with these people? There's also strategies you can do for networking on LinkedIn. A thing I like to do is connecting with lower level employees at a company and then working my way up. Because if you want to try and connect with like a hiring manager and they see you're already connected with 20 or 50 other people at the company, right? Why are they not going to connect with you? And then later on they see, oh, you were one of the people who applied for that job, right? And they already feel like, oh, I know this person. So your main aim is you don't want to be a stranger. That's the number one thing. Anywhere you go, you don't want to be a stranger. All right. But if you come to me in person and you say, hey, I want to go in this direction, I can give you more specific advice on networking. Sorry. Yes. Okay, so what is your background? IT. Okay, so my first question is, do you have a GitHub account? Do you showcase projects on your GitHub account? That's what you should be doing. But do you want to be a developer, or what do you want to do in IT? So cloud. So if you want to be a cloud engineer, that's a bit different. You would rather, and then GitHub doesn't really make sense for you. What you would rather do, so is it for Azure or is it, okay, you'll get a lot of work for Azure. Okay, so what do you want to do instead? But have you worked on projects already? Okay. On LinkedIn, there's actually a section for projects where you can go into detail on describing what you did. So you describe what the problem was, what actions you took, and what the results was from that. So that's what I would highly recommend to you. Yes, it's a good question because for developers, I would say on GitHub. For cloud engineer, I would not, because what can you show, right? So good question. Does that help? Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I can go all night. Okay. So I think we'll stop here. I'm still going to be here if you have individual questions that I can help with. All right. Thank you all so much.
Session was absolutely amazing and quite informative, Chris. I personally like the ikigai activity experience. So once again, thanks very much for coming in and give us a chance to host you here. Now I'd like to ask Pujya Ramesh Uncle and Pujya Pushpen Bhai to present appreciation of Chris. So this was the today's session, and now we'll go towards the announcements. હું હવે ગુજરાતીમાં વાત કરીશ. I'm just saying that I'll speak in my own language now. તો આ વીકે આપણે 3 ભક્તોના બર્થડે ગયા છે. પૂજ્ય કરણભાઈ સોની, પૂજ્ય સુજલભાઈ અને પૂજ્ય અજયભાઈ બેન્જો માસ્ટર. So wish you very belated happy birthday to all the ભક્તોસ. અને આજનો જે થાળ જે છે એના સ્પોન્સર છે, ડિનર સ્પોન્સર સ્માર્ટ એન્ડ ડેશિંગ, અને who always inspires others to go to gym for good fitness, પૂજ્ય દર્શનભાઈ. દર્શનભાઈ જો પધાર્યા હોય તો ઊભા થાવ અને દર્શન આપો બધાને. દર્શનભાઈના દર્શન કરીને ખૂબ આનંદ થયો. દર્શનભાઈ મારા પર્સનલ ફિટનેસ ટ્રેનર હતા 2 વર્ષ પહેલાં. તો હવે આપણે શ્રી ઠાકોરજીની આરતી કરીશું અને ત્યારબાદ થાળ લઈશું. જય સ્વામિનારાયણ.